On you.
Hello and welcome to the OB Builders Cup Series live from virtual Richmond Raceway. I'm Sheldon Atkins, joined the booth by Taylor Burris, and we got ourselves a little bit of a stowaway up here. The one and only Tommy Gossett. How's everybody doing tonight?
Well, we're doing pretty good here tonight, Sheldon, as we get set for some exciting action, as we get set to go under the lights here at Richmond Raceway. And Tommy, I got to say, welcome to the booth for the first time, and excited to have you with us here as we get set for racing under the lights at Richmond.
Well, I appreciate it, Taylor, and thank you, Sheldon. Yeah, it's going to be a hot one here tonight at Richmond. I'm definitely glad to be up here in the AC instead of that hot car with a barely functioning cool suit.
As we take a look here at the beautiful Richmond Raceway, just 3/4 of a mile here. Of course, this track has been through so many changes throughout the history of racing here, but has provided some great memorable moments. And as we get set here, track is going to change consistently as we progress further and further into the night with 260 laps of racing action. Sheldon,
I can tell you tonight, man, it's gonna be a brawl. It's gonna be a dogfight from start to finish. As we get a look here at the championship standings right now, Sean Conklin up at the top of the board, still 109 points separating him over Levine. Pasalakwa sliding into third place over Patrick Gitter, with Derek Heitman rounding out your top five. And there's most likely, if anything else I've seen this week plays into effect here, we're going to see some long-standing rivalries potentially build out of this short track here in the center of the Commonwealth.
Absolutely. I mean, this is pretty much one of your home tracks here tonight, and we got to talk a little bit about some of the keys to the race here tonight. First and foremost, turn 2. It's going to be a pain. We've seen drivers getting loose up there. We've seen drivers getting a little too tight going up the racetrack, slamming the outside wall. But turn 2 and turn 4 is going to be difficult. Speaking of turn 3 and 4, it's going to be a little bit multi-groove. We'll see some drivers try to utilize that high lane a little bit as we progress further and further into the run. It's not going to be like that single groove racing, because drivers are going to be willing to try to find where that fresh, clean air is. And of course, we're at a short track. We know one thing for certain is going to be happening is surviving here. If you watched any of the Wednesday night NIS broadcasts here on Grid Division, we saw most of the race, really good, strong racing, but those final 50 laps, it was treachery, chaos, and a lot of drivers did not go home with a happy face. So as we get set for our picks, Sheldon, what do you have for us here tonight?
Well, I'm going to have to go with Patrick Gitter. I just feel like when we go on these short tracks, he kind of separates himself into a league of his own. And I feel like this Fortis Motorsport Chevrolet is going to be pretty quick this evening. How about you, Burris?
Well, for me, I am going to go with a driver who's been of a rookie here for us in the OB Builders Cup Series, but has shown potential and a lot of great pace. It's going to be Dylan Banks at number 48 machine. And Tommy, got to come over to you. Who is your driver you've been watching?
I've, of course, got to go with Sean Conklin. That driver, that 10 car, always has great speed when we go to any type of racetrack, and especially one of these short tracks here. The technicality of the corner exits definitely suits his driving style, so I'm going to lock in that 10 car here tonight.
And
well, I think I know which one's going to win it for us here. Either way, as we pull up the starting grid here, Sean Conklin on top of the board with Dylan Banks in second. Third place, Roger Pierce with Derek Heitman in fourth. Fifth place, going to start off the grid here for Tim Wortman Jr. with Paul Pergoli to his outside in sixth. Followed by seventh place, Patrick Gitter, Brandon Pasalakwa, Daniel Wiles, and Reese Schaefer rounding out the top 10.
Moving on to P11 will be from Athens, Tennessee, Randy Belk, followed by Ridgeway, Virginia, hometown driver Paul Gallimore in 12th position. In the next row, in row 7, from Rock Island, Tennessee, Luke Christian with Keegan Sabila from New Baltimore, Michigan, as he gets set. Brian Johnson from Sharpsburg, Georgia, and South Boston, Virginia's Chris Crosby in 16th. Justin Levine will be in 17th from Brooklyn, New York, with Chris Hudson from Raleigh, North Carolina in 18th. Rounding out your top 20 from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Alexander Carr and Randy Mullins from Mount Pleasant, North Carolina.
And in 21st place, we got Jose Medina with Russell Black in 22nd. 23rd is going to be Thomas O'Hara with Richard Kleinman in 24th. 25th place is going to be Chris Vincent with Michael Conti in 26th. Starting 27th, it's going to be Matt DiCiani with... hang on. I got a bit of an issue here, because that can't be right. For some reason, it was showing me Tommy Gossett. Oh, well, somehow Tommy is both in the booth and on the track at the same time, so we would just go with that. Well, now it's showing me John Bitter. No, I'm messed up. The train's falling off the rails here.
Out of
20th
better
place will be
field.
Adam Benefield with Alex Coffey, followed by Joseph Causey, running out your top 30.
Followed by Chris Davis in 31st, Josh Schaffner in 32nd, Jeffrey Taylor in 33rd, Greg Carr and Chad Kibbe. Followed by John Bender and Paul Ferradani. Running out your field here tonight is Joshua Hyatt.
38 cars rolling into the restart zone here to start things off from the action track, and the green flag is out. Sean Conklin to the gas, Banks to the outside, trying to hold serve for them here into turn 1.
Field already working their way through side by side, 2 by 2, and already Sean Conklin checks out by about a car length ahead of his two competitors, of teammates of Pierce and Banks, as they head down the back straightaway. Already starting to get single file for your top 5, but already hustling and bustling as they come through 2 by 2 from about 7th on back, as you watch the battle between the 17 of Paul Gallimore and Keegan Sevilla and company, as they will put lap number 1 up on the board.
Now the majority of the top 10 single file, a couple cars running side by side here, though. A little further back, you see the 21 machine of Patrick Gitter down to the inside of what looks to be Tim Wortman Jr. sporting a new paint scheme this week. And right now, early in this race, is basically just a 38-car race to get down to that yellow line and hug that seam as long as you can, because that's where the tire wear, that's where you want to keep the car planted if you want to keep those right sides alive for more than 15, 20 laps.
Well, I want to come to Tommy on this here a little bit. You know, we are in those early stages, Tommy. I know this is where the tires are fresh. You want to try to make your way up through the field and get settled in, but how are you choosing a little bit of patience, but also balancing it with that aggression to settle yourself in to get set for this first green flag run?
Well, you know, this early in the race, it's all about hunting the clean air. As we see Patrick Gitter looking on the inside of Paul Bergoli down here in 3 and 4. It's all about finding that clean air and getting that left front headlight in clean air. If you have to move up a little bit or go down, just try to offset your car from the car in front of you. And honestly, the best positions to be in the lead here. It's all about clean air with this new, whatever you want to call it, tire model and aero package we got on this car here. It's all about keeping that clean air and keeping your downforce on it.
As massive as the clean air is, it doesn't, I mean, I've had moments this week because I've ran a lot of races here, but it doesn't feel as bad as it was at, say, Iowa or Dover a few weeks ago. I don't know if it's just me hallucinating or...
Personally, I think that's a little bit of the lower speed aspect of this track, whereas Dover and Iowa, you're carrying a bit more speed through the center. The dirty air here is bad. If you get on that throttle when you're behind somebody, you are going to shred your right front, and you have so much wheel on exit, you're going to end up shredding your right rear too.
Good point. I may just be saving my own tail, though, because like I said, I keep it planted. I've been running so shallow compared to everybody else this week, but that doesn't matter so much as we see Keegan Sabilo going at it with Justin Levine right now at a turn 4. But here comes Levine crossing back under here on the front straightaway down into turn 1. Justin Levine in the 19 Grid Vision Camry going to try and take the spot away from his teammate here. And gets a good drive down the back straightaway, and looks like he's going to have it for now.
Yeah, I think right now we're seeing some drivers give a little bit, take a little bit. We're still early on the run. You don't want to burn up those right rears like we talked about with Tommy. And just right now, just see about giving it that position. You know, if your car is set up in the right manner, you will be able to get back around him, because letting that driver go and burn up his equipment, let them be the rabbit. You just slowly get ready to reel them back in as we progress here and watching a couple of cars battle for position a little further back. Those are the drivers of, looks like to be the 20 machine who we see coming through. Let me get the driver's number on that one here as they work their way side by side. Alex Coffey, Thomas O'Hara battling for the 26th position.
Yeah, and you're going to see this all night long. You know, it may get boring up there at the front with Sean Conklin walking away, but everywhere throughout the pack here at Richmond, you're going to see some kind of movement at any point of the run. As you see, it's basically a gaggle of cars here from 26th place on back is Thomas O'Hara trying to make the outside work, but on the inside, Chris Davis sending a good drive down up by the paint, trying to get past the 61 machine. He's going to get the drive off here through turn 2, and he's going to pull him down the back straightaway.
Really good pass that we're seeing right here as we saw Coffey work his way around that 74 machine of Chris David as they go back to single file. Matt DeCiani struggling right there a little further back in 30th, which is kind of unheard of, I should have to say, Sheldon. We normally see Matt working his way up through the front of the field and being pretty much top 20 or higher. But here recently, Matt DeCiani has been struggling for pace these past few weeks. Hopefully can find a way to rebound, especially here tonight at Richmond.
I wouldn't worry about it. Every time I throw out the red flags for that 5 car, we look up with about 15 laps to go, and he's slided himself up into about 8th or 7th position, and he makes a huge drive up to the front in the closing laps. I think right now he's just maybe trying to learn the pace of the car, trying to take care of his stuff because he knows it's going to set to be a long-run race. And, I mean, there's one thing about DeCiani we've all noticed up here in the booth this season is the man does not like to qualify.
Likes to work on his passing skills more so and have fun working his way up through the field as we do ride on board with him. He's got ahead of the 23 machine of John Bender and the 61 of Thomas O'Hara as they'll go side by side behind him as he tries to get around Chris Vinson for the 28th spot. He's putting a little bit of pressure on him, but so far can't find that opening to get to his inside to make the pass work. Big run coming off from turn number 2 as there you saw Vinson get a little bit of a bobble right there. Vinson goes wide, and DeCiani takes the spot away as they come off the 4.
He's doing right now, though, that I think he's going for the long haul right now, though, is he's the way he's choking the corner. He's going really shallow all the way through the corner, no massive arcs, and kind of, there's multiple different ways to drive Richmond I've seen throughout the years. You got the guys that go up against the wall, try to make that work once the tires break in. You got guys that kind of go for the big, Iowa or just the short track arc. And then you got guys like DeCiani or a guy like Keegan Sabilo, who we got a camera on right now, who they kind of go for that 5 flags approach. They just kind of send it in as low as they can, keep it down there on the paint, try not to peel the tires off it, and slowly let the car work itself back up on the straightaway. Now, you lose a lot of time on the short run doing that, but once you get, 15, 20 laps on the thing, you are hauling, and there's nothing they can do to hold you back.
Right on board here with Luke Christian briefly as he works his way up through the field, currently sitting in the top 15 as there behind we see Michael Conti getting around Chris Hudson and Alexander Carr, his next target inside the top 20. There you see Hudson dealing with pressure from Randy Mullins, who's been looking to try to have a good week. He's had a couple of tough runs this season, but looking to try to bounce back here at Richmond. A good track for him as right behind is Adam Benefield, who definitely did not have a good week at Watkins Glen last time out.
No, Benefield really been struggling with the road courses here recently, but I'm sure happy that we got a long stint of ovals. Richmond this week, Daytona next week. It's going to be a good opportunity for a lot of guys to make up a lot of points that they lost over the summer stretch here.
Tommy, I got to come to you here a little bit on this. We got done with the crazy road course stretch that we had here. We're getting ready to go into, of course, the short track we're on right now, then a super speedway. Then we head off to Darlington, Bristol, and several other iconic and yet difficult and unique circuits. How is it going to be managing that to set yourself up for a run, especially in the championship like we see here, where it's not a playoff base, it's more of like the original Winston Cup, where it is all about getting the maximum points you can get?
Yeah, the better points format, if you ask me. It's all about setting yourself up, as you said, and carrying momentum from race to race. As opposed to how it was back before the pandemic in 2019, 2018 NASCAR, before the schedule realignments. You didn't have stretches of similar type of tracks. You go from track type to track type constantly. And especially as we wind down the season here, you've got a massive track in Daytona with super speedways. You've got a very technical, worn out track in Darlington. And then we got the concrete of Bristol. That's always a wild race, no matter how you shake it up and put it down. And I think with this new package we got here on iRacing, it's going to make it even better. Bristol. I think Bristol's going to be one of the best racing tracks we see for a while.
I'm so excited for us to get to Bristol because I ran Gen 4 there a couple weeks back, and oh my God, man, that was the most fun I've had in years on this service. The bottom line is so strong again, and it is definitely a tire saver's favorite place to be.
Yeah, and especially with the dirty air factor of this car with the underbody on it, it's going to make the groove move around so much as we go to Roger Pierce here, who's settled into a nice second place. He's got 1.5 seconds behind Sean Conklin and a second over Dylan Banks. This is, if I was in any position except for where Sean is, this is right where I would want to be. You've got a little bit of clean air because Sean's got such a big lead, and you don't have a car right up behind you getting you loose, burning your right rear tire off. Roger's in a great spot here as Sean begins to work through lap traffic.
I'll tell you what, while we're sitting here, giving giving roses to these Victory 1 cars up here at the front of the pack, I got to give a shout out to Dylan Banks, man. Never once noticed his name in the years leading up to this season, but racing against him in A-Open the past couple weeks, seeing what he's done in NIS, that cat in that 48 car, man, he's come here. He means business. Every time we go to these short tracks, it feels like he's right up there in the picture. And that is definitely, I wouldn't say a sleeper pick, but if you've got an underdog pick out here to Conklin, that would be the one that I'd have circled up there on the card.
Yeah, you know, he's coming off a great second place there at Iowa. You hear us drivers give the interview about the Ryco advantage whenever we win a race or podium it, and it's more than just a setup. Ken does such a great job developing us as drivers and teaching us how to race with respect and give respect when it's earned. He does such a great job, and Dylan is a great example. And another example that you see on the hood of Sean's car is Randy Belt. Huge shout out to him. He's been putting in the work week in and week out and just improving his craft here on the sim.
Yeah, Belk definitely has made a huge step forward here as we look now through the field. Everything's just so calm, man. We're just so separated, strung out. This is the part where everybody's just focusing on locking in here, setting down good, clean laps, not sliding the tires too much, and just keeping it all lined up to try and make a huge shot at the end of this tire and fuel run. I don't really know because I haven't seen many green flag runs all week. I don't know how long these guys can go, if it's going to be tires or fuel that's going to matter first.
You know, you being the driver, you think I would have the answer to that, but I don't know either. We haven't went green long enough at any point this week to answer that question.
Well, I do got to say, what is the normal distance for A-Open this weekend, or this week at Richmond? A-Open, not NIS, but A-Open.
You know, I don't even remember.
The race length is 130, but the average green lap run would probably be about 15 laps, if you're lucky. It's been a pretty rough week. Monday and Tuesday night felt great. Everything after that, it's been a dumpster fire.
Well, normally I would have to say for how A-Open, at least when I was running A-Open a whole lot, was most people would try to just hit to the halfway point if it was a long green flag run. So 130 laps for A-Open, that's about 65 laps total. So I'd have to say for fuel purposes, we could probably see these drivers stretched out to about 70, maybe closing to 80 laps, give or take, around the circuit in order to try to for fuel. But for the tires, I do got to say, though, Tommy, if how long they've been out there utilizing those right side tires, they're going to come down pit road at the most optimal time to try to get some fresh tires and see if they can basically try to leapfrog the competition a little bit with the tires.
Yeah, you know, whatever I would do in this position is I'll do the opposite of whatever Sean does. If Sean's going to split this race, say, into thirds for tire purposes, and someone like Roger, and I'm someone like Roger, and I'm going to try to make it halfway on fuel and pit for fuel and just see how it shuffles out.
A little bit of three wide action right now, sitting around sixth place. Patrick Gitter trying to thread the middle between Paul Bergoli and then down to his bottom. Brandon Pasalacqua making huge strides here as we started cutting to the tires. And there are three wide on the back straightaway. Man, I've seen this only end one way this week, and it's been in tears.
Old Paul went really wide there. He got up in the marbles. That's going to allow Pasalacqua and Gitter to drive by him and go back 2x2.
And that's going to open him up to attack here potentially from Daniel Wiles working the inside line through 1 and 2. And here comes Levine, thinking about threading the middle, thinks better of it, falls back in line.
We got smoke on the track. Was that from somebody spinning?
Somebody had a little bit of an off somewhere, and
yeah, Josh Hyatt on pit road right now. Maybe a little bit of a lockup there on him. Heavy damage to the nose of the tube machine, and unfortunately it looks like he misses his box pretty significantly. But back to the battle.
I'm sorry,
carry
Sheldon,
on.
go ahead.
No, send it.
I'm curious if Paul is running that line out of necessity or if he's trying to find a cool place on the track, because these tires, with the dirty air, if you heat them up, you can search around and find the cooler place on the track to try to cool those right sides off. And he is running much higher than anybody else we are seeing here tonight.
I do think it's out of necessity because I've noticed a lot of people getting really loose working the bottom. You know, just the transition from the bottom to the top on the straightaways. A lot of guys have been snapping with that. And if you didn't necessarily take care of your tires too much, go up to the top of the track. We don't have to put as much wheel into it. And it seems to kind of rectify that. But it's also a double-edged sword, though, because if you're too aggressive with that right rear doing that, you're going to absolutely kill yourself on the long run when it comes to that right rear tire.
Yeah, and you know, this is a big learning curve for everybody here tonight, Sheldon, because not only is it the new aero package and tire package I keep working on in this A car, but it's also a new scan of Richmond. We have the new worn out asphalt. It has much less grip than previous times we've been here.
Yeah, and it feels like it's also deleted a couple lanes that we used to have here too, because it felt like you could, I had about 4 or 5 different lines I'd run here depending on what type of car I brought, and it feels like really the best place to be is just down there on that bottom now, where it used to be. You could be fast on the bottom, but if you weren't as fast as the guys on the bottom, you could stand up on the outside right up against the fence, you'd be quick. But you see right now from goalie, that's not necessarily the case, and it just seems like it's kind of made it more low lane dominant.
Yeah, I have to agree with that as we see Michael Conti getting around Paul Bergoli there for 8th place, sliding Bergoli back to 9th, and Levine is up to 7th place. We're right on board here with Michael Conti as he's looking to work on Justin Levine now, going down here into turn 1.
And Michael Conti up from 26th place now to 8th, making the move down into the bottom of 1 and 2 here to get past Justin Levine in the Mac Tools Grid Vision top split Camry.
Yeah, and Justin's one of the better racers here on the sim. I remember back in the day when I was first starting out, he used to yank me by laps at this place in A-Open.
Oh, yeah.
So seeing him run this pace here is not surprising at all, as I believe they're working underneath of a lap car here, the 58 machine.
Yeah, this is always one of those tracks that Justin's kind of had circled. Broke a long top split NIS win drought today, too, that cat in that 19 machine.
A really good pace that he's showcasing right now as he goes side by side with Michael Conti for the 7th position. A couple of other drivers starting to draw themselves into the mix, including that 13 machine of Daniel Wiles and Reese Schaefer in the 97 also trying to put up a little bit of a fight, as the lap car of the 58 machine of Richard Kleiman is kind of stuck in the middle between all of this battling that we see going on as they work their way back into turn 1. Pascal Acqua and Patrick Gitter going to try to jockey for the top 5 with Michael Conti in hot pursuit as he tries to work his way through. It's nose to tail, and Pascal Acqua drops back into position. Looks to the inside, though, as Gitter goes up to that middle lane, as we're starting to see more of that multi-crew racing coming to play here at Richmond.
I'll tell you what, Michael Conti, that's somebody that that cat always mesmerizes me, man. I can't imagine the amount of years he has been on the sim, the amount of different cars he has driven, all of them to great success. I mean, hell, the dude was here when we started with the COT with the wing and won with that. And here he is, 2025, all these years later, still competitive, putting down strong performances week in and week out. Did you see him get past Patrick Gitter here to turn 1, moving himself up to 5th? So up 21 spots from where he started this thing just 47 laps ago.
Yeah, his longevity is very impressive here on the sim. When you factor into real life NASCAR, there are only 3 drivers on the current grid who drove in the wing COT. The only one I can name right off the top, you got Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and the third one is escaping me. I cannot remember for my life who that is. But
Michael McDowell.
Michael McDowell, thank you. Who could forget that?
I can only remember. I can only remember because what he did in the wing COT.
Yeah, Conti's longevity and his adaptability is very impressive.
I don't think there's anybody else on the sim that has adapted to the revolving door cars as well as Michael Conti throughout all the years that he's been here. And it's just crazy because this goes all the way back to NR03 for that, man.
Yeah, being somebody who grew up watching iRacing and wanting to get a simulator and a computer, I remember watching the early days of the Peak Antifree series and always seeing the name Michael Conti in it. And some people have came, some people have gone, and he is still here competing at the highest levels.
Peak Antifree series. How about going all the way back to the NASCAR iRacing World Championship before it had even a sponsor? That's how far back I remember going to and watching Conti and drivers like Ray Alfala and even Tyler Hudson battling it out for the championship, especially here at this racetrack.
Yeah, Burris giving a lot of representation for the plus 50 set here on iRacing.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, you got to remember, I was 8 years old when Peak started sponsoring the series.
To be young again.
Now I'm feeling old. This is great.
Well, I mean, if it makes anybody feel better, a driver in the Arkham and Art series who was born in 2010 won this past weekend at Watkins Glen. 15 years of age.
Please stop talking.
Trust me.
Oh my God.
Wasn't even born when Carl Edwards tried to murder Brad Keselowski at Atlanta. It's unbelievable.
Goodness. And that's what's crazy is we're going to keep seeing kids like that racing their way through the ranks of NASCAR in the years to come.
Dylan Harvick, 2035 champion.
Unless Sean Conklin has something else to say about that here for that future superstar as we watch him work his way through. And then here's one of the old guards, I have to say as well, Adam Benefield, who is also trying to work his way up through the running order. And Roger Pierce, comfortable in second place. As we go back to Benefield briefly, and our camera and producer is just now going all over the place as we watch them work their way through side-by-side action with Patrick Gitter and Reese Schaefer going at it. Schaefer having a good run here tonight, staying comfortable inside the top 10 as he tries to find his way around the inside of that 21 machine.
Reese has showed some very impressive pace this week. Even last night when I was just watching the top split race, he was there or thereabouts in 10th, 15th all night. This pace he's shown here this week is incredible.
Yeah, Schaefer always been pretty good on the short tracks. Remember, got the I forget which series I was covering it. I think it was last year, but just showed up, dominated Bristol, SSRL, and it was his first race. So Reese definitely great pace on these smaller tracks, and it is pretty impressive though. You know, the dude had some pretty massive surgery a little bit back, took a long break from the service, and this, I do believe, his first week back on the service since that happened. So picking up where he left off a couple months ago.
As we're watching this battle, Michael Conti has moved himself up into 4th place past Derek Heitman as the most recent change in the top 5. And now Conti sets sight on the 48 car of Dylan Banks. And Banks' car this week is sponsored by Graham Crackers Racing, as we can focus on that hood of that new sponsor there. That car is looking great.
One thing I've been watching right now with Michael Conti, he has so far one of the strongest long run setups. He is currently setting the fastest laps of the race here in this stage. In fact, last time by, he was about a 10th faster than your race leader as he comes across the line now. Make it almost 0.2 of a second faster than your race leader. He is starting to reel in the competition as he closes into the back bumper of that Graham Crackers Racing of Dylan Banks for 3rd.
He's doing all this in a backup car, too. Check the paint. I'm going to flew everybody's head. All right, cool. I'm done being funny. Well, I never started, but hey. A little bit. Did you see Sean Conklin also with his hands full, a bunch of lap traffic around that 10 machine up here at the front? As you see now, Michael Conti making the move to the outside here, trying to get past Dylan Banks. It's going to be a dead heat down to turn 1.
I'm expecting Conti to get this runoff. I'm expecting Conti to get this runoff here too and get him down here and Dylan. Dylan's a smart racer. Dylan realizes, hey, we've still got a full NIS length of a race here to go. I'm just going to settle in, figure out what Conti's doing that I'm not doing, and do better on this next run. I don't expect this to be the last time we see Dylan Banks up here in contention.
No, absolutely not. He's been so fast this week. I mean, what's his win count for Richmond this week? It's something crazy. I know that.
I'm not sure. I know he ended Iowa week with 16.
Jesus God. And I was second him at least 5 of those. All over the bumper. Couldn't get a green run.
You know what, Sheldon?
Still mad.
I made it not be 17.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Back up the front of the pack. And this right here, this is what I worry about for Sean. He's just digging into these lap cars. He's got a little bit of space right now between him and the 50 machine of Josh Schaffner, but as far as the eye can see, it's just cars separated by a little bit. And there's a huge gaggle down the back straightaway that's going to be difficult if he gets to it as Patrick Gitter comes down pit road.
Paul Bergoli as well, and definitely expected that one. Paul started really struggling at the back end of that run there. He had fallen, I believe it was 11 positions, if I'm counting right. And I do expect Sean to possibly pit here before he reaches this big group of cars so he doesn't get quagmired in them. And if he doesn't, it's a two-way street when you're working through lap cars like this. You can either try to get them on old tires to maximize your fresh tires, or use your fresh tires to pick them off one by one if we do stay green through the pit cycle.
Also, at the same time, too, you just want to be careful, too, because if he pits too early and they have a wreck somewhere, which, you know, it seems like it always happens. If you're fast and you come down pit road, they're going to wreck. You're liable to get caught 2 laps down here, and that is a near insurmountable hole to dig out of.
It is a near insurmountable hole, especially in a league of OB Builders quality here. You rarely see cautions on tracks like this, which is incredible. As we move on back here to focus on some other battles throughout the field. Big old gaggle here coming down the back straightaway. I believe that is what you were referencing, that Sean is going to be approaching here soon. We got DeCiani and Bell, Chris Vincent in the 33 machine down there on the inside.
Yeah, that's right here. This could just be such a difficult situation for these guys to dig themselves through, trying to trying to lap all these cars.
Yeah, and this is what makes you nervous as someone like Sean, being in a position that he's in. You got this huge gaggle of cars, and we're on old tires. And one slip, one slight overdrive of a corner, you lock up that left front brake. There's your yellow. That's why you want to try to play it long, but you don't want to go too long. As we ride on board with Sean here down into turn 1. Now, Taylor, let me ask you something about this racetrack. What do you think is the hardest part about it? Do you think it's the transition on entry, especially now with the old asphalt and how slick it is? Or do you think it's properly getting on the gas pedal at the right time to not plow and burn that right front tire off?
For me, it's always been the right getting on to the throttle off corner exit for me, at least from my experience, especially off of turn 2, where the car just wants to push and just hit right up that outside wall. And once you hit that outside wall, you're kind of just stuck to it there for the most part. As we see, of course, with this new pavement, with the new rescan of Richmond, a little bit of turn 4 has now been that same way, where it's a little bit loose off corner exit. So overall, it's going to be that continuous issues of just getting the throttle back on off corner exit. Turn entry, for me at least, was not really that difficult. I could really have a good time sending it in and carrying some speed in, but just getting back on the throttle was always my biggest issue. And of course, it could have been just me driving it in too hard at the case, not backing up my corners a little bit.
So we see Brandon Pasalacqua trying to go underneath of Derek Heitman here. And in front of him is that 97 machine of Reese Schaefer. He has cleared all these guys and is up into a very, very strong 6th position with Justin Levine in 5th. Heitman is starting to struggle here. You would expect this to be the time that Derek pulls the plug and tries to get an advantage, because we saw Paul Bergoli absolutely blow by Sean on those fresh tires.
Right now for Heitman, it's going to be difficult, though, because you got that 6th machine of Brandon Pasalacqua down there beneath you. Going to need to get those 2 cars past. And Pasalacqua, it's just it's business as usual for that cat in that 6 car, because he is so good. I talk about it every week, but how good he is when it comes down to tire wear and long runs. And we're seeing proof of that right here as he's moved himself through the pack here pretty quick. And there he gets past Heitman.
Pasalacqua was really showcasing a lot of great pace right now, working his way through the running here as he does get by that driver. But Heitman's going to come back around with that outside momentum, but it's not going to work. He has to back it down a little bit. Pasalacqua completes the pass as we watch them, and Reese Schaefer getting around Justin Levine for the 5th spot here, and he has a really good set here. Stretches it out to about a car length advantage as we go back to the battle for the 7th position between Pasalacqua, Heitman, and Daniel Wiles, who I've been impressed with tonight so far, staying inside that top 10.
And does anybody remember back in the day with the old car where you could tell exactly who set their brake bias too far backwards? Every time we get a restart, you go to turn 1, they just back it into the fence.
Oh, yeah, I've been guilty of that a time or two.
It was so great. You'd start the race, and you'd know, like, if you started 15th or something, you're picking up 3 spots because there's going to be at least 3 cars just tapping it into the fence backwards.
Now, I've just got to put the spotlight back on Reese Schaefer for a minute. The pace he is demonstrating here tonight is absolutely incredible. He is currently running down Dylan Banks. If he gets to him before the pit stops, I don't know. Reese here running this paint scheme that I believe is a throwback to the 2010 Matt Kenseth Crown Royal machine. That's at least what it looks like to me. He's definitely putting on a Matt Kenseth-esque performance as we go back here to this absolute gaggle of lap cars and cars coming out of pit road and cars that haven't pit. Derek gets very close there to the 4 car there on the outside, and we've got the 13 of Wiles possibly looking to make it 3 wide, but he thinks better of it down into 1.
I do believe that you did hit the nail on the head, by the way, with the paint schemes. We've got 3 wide coming out of turn 2. Heitman stuck in a precarious position right in front of Keegan Sabilo coming down to turn 3. And you see Wiles working the inside line, trying to get the magic to pull himself down the front straightaway to get past, but Heitman doing his best Ryan Newman impression here.
Yeah, you know, that is a great comparison for Derek there, Ryan Newman. That is great. If only had the qualifying speed of Ryan.
I've tried to pass him a few times the past couple weeks. It's the nicest thing I could say about him.
More
As
drivers.
Roger Pierce has somehow got by Sean Conklin. How this happened, I don't know, but the top three are all on top of each other here out of turn 2.
Really big things happening here as we'll take a look at the replay. And he had just slowly but surely reeled in your race leader. Looks like right here, Conklin went up the racetrack off turn 2, gave way, and didn't really fight it. He actually just then tucks in between the drivers of Roger Pierce, as well as also Michael Conti, who just got around Sean Conklin for the second position. It seems like those tires are starting to fade a little bit there on Sean Conklin. Hopefully maybe try to cool him off a little bit, see what he could do as they work their way.
I definitely think Sean making the hole through the lap traffic has hurt that right front tire, because that is another thing you got to remember. When we started on this track, it was pretty green. It's not like it's going to be working through lap traffic here in another 50, 60 laps. He was making the groove to go around those lap cars. Sean is very loose there out of turn 2 as he goes back down into 3.
Watch right here as they come out of turn 3 and 4, as they come their way through, and look at that much sawing at the wheel right there he has coming off turn 4. He is really struggling right now in this stage of the race. I have to say, probably here in the next few laps, he will have to come down pit road.
For the lead out of turn 2, Conti down to the bottom of the track, almost gets himself up to the door of the 27 machine of Pierce. Pierce opting out of running that bottom line, was a couple tenths off to Conti when he was down there trying to use the outside line to propel him down the straightaway and make it difficult for Conti to get a run. But here comes Conti switching up and going to the outside into 1.
Yeah, you know, if you're going to run the outside here, as we see the 6 car, Brendan Pasalacqua, down on pit road, running the outside line here is definitely preferred in 3 and 4 this late in the race, in my opinion, as opposed to down 1 and 2, because you've got that transition off of turn 2 that is just so abrupt. It almost feels like you're making a jump from the bank into the flat. It definitely hinders that momentum you can carry around the outside of 1 and 2.
Here comes Conti looking down to the bottom, trying to arc it and get the drive off, and it looks like he's going to get a pretty good run of it down the back straightaway, but not enough to get to the door.
Almost made contact right there with the driver of Roger Pierce as you go on board with Michael Conti. Matt DeCiani on the fresh set of Goodyear tires, trying to see if he can get himself back on the lead lap, or one of his 2 laps back, actually, as here they comes off turn number 2. Also the 25 machine with
big
fresh
stack
tires
up in front of him.
Yeah, it's going to be a big problem right here as now Conti goes around the outside, retakes the lead, and I think Roger Pierce is coming down pit road, as well as Sean Conklin.
Yes, he is. I mean, these guys have ended up in a situation where all these guys that took tires are trying to drive themselves by right now. The only thing you're going to do is cost yourself more time if you stay out smart, heads-up move by Heitman to bring it down. But I don't think the battle's over, though, because that 38 machine is bad fast. He caught them all on just sheer patience alone.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Michael does here as he approaches this big gaggle of lap cars that still haven't pit, and the people come up to pass him who have pit. It's going to be definitely interesting to see what he does here, because if he stays out, the longer he stays out, the more I'm leaning towards he's going to try to split this race in half, where Sean and Roger are definitely doing thirds. Oh, almost contact. Randy Belk sideways going up the track.
And what a save from Randy Belk.
That is so impressive, especially with how high he got there in the marbles. You don't see many drivers hold on to that.
Just got word from our driver of Michael Conti coming down pit road this time by, so he will make his way through as more lap cars try to get around him to get their laps back, as here he comes down onto pit road, which should give the race lead over to Dylan Banks. Nope, Dylan's pitting as well. Reese Schaefer is going to stay out for a moment as Banks struggling to get onto pit road. Hopefully didn't get caught speeding. So far, he looks clear. Sabila and Heitman choosing to stay out.
Also, that's
now
pit
Reese
entry.
Schaefer gets to lead his first laps of the race. And yeah, like you were saying, Sheldon, I'm sorry for interrupting you. Pit entry here is a bear, especially with the new dynamic of the marbles. I don't believe the marbles were a factor here last year when we came to Richmond, but this year it is an absolute nightmare to get it slowed down on those marbles with the hot tires.
That's exactly what I was going to point out, because this is the first race that, we've really had this week that's had super long green flag runs, 91 laps a week, a record for the week, really, it feels. But there is so much marble buildup down on the bottom of the track and up against the wall, and I can just imagine how difficult it is, because it's a jarring transition just to get down there on clean asphalt alone. Add all the dirt and marbles down there to kind of snap the car around, as we see Derek Heitman bring it down pit road.
Yeah, with Reese's speed here, I am really leaning towards he is going to attempt to do the opposite of everybody. I can see him trying to make it to that lap 130 mark as we go back to Derek Hyman coming down to his box, as well as is that the 23? Oh, the 23 has missed his box and having to back up on pit road as Randy Bell goes on by.
That is a costly mistake right there for him as we are watching the drivers work their way through. Chris Vincent has moved up into third. Keegan Sabila, he's in a hornet's nest as he has a trouble of drivers get in front of him loose. The 28 machine loses control of his car but gathers it back up. That causes a big-time stack-up as Levine nearly got turned around by the 50 of Josh Schaffner as they come across the line. And here comes the driver of Michael Conti in hot pursuit, as well as the battle for the first car to get back on the lead lap is heating up.
Yeah, this is definitely the most precarious part of a run when you're staying out this long and you've got all these guys flying by you. You don't know which way to go. I compare it this stage of a race to an IMSA race, and you're a GT3 and you got LMP2s and GT3s flying by you on all sides.
Levine picked up a lot of track position there just with the timing of his pit. You saw he was in front of Michael Conti for a little bit there, falling back to 9th place for now. Still got a couple cars in front of him that need to come down, but it looks like the majority of the field is pretty much set in stone here with, I think, it's Reese Schaefer, Keegan Sabilo, and Chris Vincent, the last three staying out.
Yeah, I don't believe that Chris or Keegan is going to be able to make the pitting on lap 130 work. With how smooth Reese has been and how fast he was at the end of that run there, I think if anybody's going to make it work, he calls in the dog and is coming down pit road that time.
A remarkable run out of that 97 Camry this evening, though.
For sure. It's going to be interesting to see what Keegan does here. I would expect to see him on pit road here soon. I think everybody's going to give up on the one-stop strategy here tonight.
Yep, there he is, gesturing to come in right there.
Yep, as we watch him come down pit road, make sure he doesn't die. Oh, gets a little bit sideways. And see, at this point, coming down pit road, there is an advantage to it because everybody else has come down with those hot tires and picked up those marbles. It's a little bit easier for people like Keegan and Chris and that 97 of Reese Schaefer.
You see Vincent now leading his first laps of the evening of the 33 Team Watson Chevrolet.
Looking right now at him, and he's currently has about a 3.3 second advantage. Actually kind of plateaued around the 3.5 second limit for him at this time. And as we watch the driver of Patrick Gitter, Sean Conklin, starting to close in with those fresh set of tires, curious to see how far Vincent's going to stretch it out. Patrick Gitter, I believe, also has made a pit stop recently. He's got 35 laps on his tires, so he's going to be able to stretch it out for a little bit longer, but Sean Conklin going to try to make short work of that effort as he comes barreling down on him across the line as we have crossed into 100 laps of racing as Chris Vincent comes down pit road.
And with 100 laps on the board right now, a little bit of contact with the wall for Roger Pierce, but no harm, no foul. But with 100 laps on the board, we're going to send to a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be back to bring you more of the OB Builders Cup Series here on the grid.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back to the OB Builders Cup Series live from Richmond here on Grid Vision. I'm Sheldon Atkins, joined in the booth by Taylor Burris, Tommy Gossett, and somewhere down there in the production truck we have Austin Derbyshire hiding out. Karen's knocking over all the drinks, though, so apologies if we make any mistakes going forward. 109 laps down. Sean Conklin still up here at the point. A second separating him from Roger Pierce, and looming not so distantly in the mirror behind him is Michael Conti.
Yeah, we're definitely about to have a great battle for the lead here. Picked a great time to come back from commercial. We have a tire offset of, I believe, 5 laps between Sean and Roger and 3 between Roger and Conti. So Conti definitely has the better tires out of all of them. I'm sorry, I thought there was way more tire offset between Sean and Roger, but it's only 1 lap. So we're definitely going to see that tires mean here with all this dirty air.
And on top of it, I just think, I don't know what it is that Connie's figured out here with that 38 machine, but he's got just a little something else up his sleeve this week for the Ryco cars here at Richmond. Whether it's just all those years, it was most likely probably just all those years of experience in the Pro Series, but he's definitely had something different in the long run compared to anybody else in the field. He's just murking these guys today. But don't count your chickens for the hatch, though, because Sean Conklin is still Sean Conklin, regardless of where we go. And he's shown us very, very well why that is a name that you're going to hear a ton in the future, as he, I'm pretty sure he's getting himself ready to move up to move up through Road to Pro next season, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sean is definitely going to be competing in that Road to Pro ladder. He did season before last, before they canceled this year's, and he made it quite far. I believe he had to miss a race for some personal reasons, and that's the only reason he didn't advance. Is we move up here to Randy Belk. And I've got to say, you know, I'm a paint scheme guy. I absolutely love that 9 paint scheme. I believe that's a Paul Menard throwback to when he ran a, I can't remember what it was, but I remember it ran at Indy with that beautiful blue with that neon green.
That would be, I believe, what was that? That's not the Raceway paint from the Brickyard, is it?
No, that was a standard stock yellow. I'm going to have to look it up now.
Yeah, those Menards cars, man, they do. I'd love to spot for one of those, because those cars stand out. I remember back in the days when they used to still paint them, like those cars, they'd come by on the straightaway, you'd know it because the wall would be glowing green before the car got there.
Yeah, I'm thinking of his 2011 Peak Antifreeze car. Looking at it, it's definitely not the same, but it looks very similar, as we see Sean Conklin putting that car, I believe, another lap down, and now Sean said, contact with the wall. 3 of them. Bang, bang, bang there at the wall.
That was a pretty hard hit for Conklin, too, to the outside fence. Hit it square, so that everything underneath the car should be all right, but you want to be careful because you can crease a fender so easy, and Aero is definitely huge here at Richmond this week.
And that we see some damage there popping up on that car. I don't know if that was netcode damage or what. But yeah, the damage model here has definitely been wonky this week. I've seen people take some hard licks and get 30 seconds, and people get barely tapped in the rear end and the right front brake. As we go back here to Michael Conti trying to look underneath Roger Pierce down into turn 1 and 2, with Roger hanging tough on that outside.
Ooh, a little bit squirrely right there for Roger Pierce as he comes off of turn number 2, but he's still going to fight hard with Michael Conti as they come off side by side through the middle of the corner. Really good run right here for Roger Pierce to hang tough with the multi-time eNASCAR champion, as Pierce still holding strong on the outside, washes up a little too wide, trying to see about diamonding the corner. Tommy, I want to come to you on this. I've seen a couple of drivers trying to diamond those corners here. Can that really help with handling of the car or even the tire wear with trying to do that?
It'll help with short-term speed, especially in turn 1 and 2, as I was alluding to earlier with that transition you have. Doing that allows you to get a straighter shot and straighten out the wheel to be able to carry that momentum. It is so hard when you wrap that seam. Everybody's in the wall there as we looked at for Conti to try to make that pass and continue to battle down here in 3 and 4. It is so tough to carry that momentum in 1 and 2 because it is such a different corner compared to 3 and 4. 3 and 4 is a bit more normal, a bit more like turns 3 and 4 in Iowa, where you can roll that outside. Now, this is going to be a great battle because these two, as they battle, catch Sean and this huge group of lap cars they're fixing to be working through. As Michael Conti uses a little bit of a pick, and Roger sends it back 3 wide on the inside with the lap car, and Michael Conti in the middle. Conti's going to take that momentum and clear the 27 machine and set his sights on Sean.
Roger Pierce making brave and heroic decisions. Same thing with his teammate of Sean Conklin as he tries to negotiate the lap traffic, getting around the 17 of Paul Gallimore. Does so quickly, but the problem is Michael Conti barreling down on him like a madman as they head down the back straightaway. He'll look to the inside of Gallimore and closes in to your race leader. And I have to say, lap traffic has not been a friend for Sean Conklin here tonight, Sheldon.
No, it's absolutely not been a friend for anybody. But right now, Conti's showing us what I was talking about earlier. You know, we were talking about, Tommy was talking about the tire advantage a little bit ago, and I was talking about just the long run pace. And here we are, 123 laps down, just getting outside that window to halfway, and Michael Conti up to the back bumper of Sean Conklin here. And just remember, that cat in that 38 car, he's driven from 26th place to start this thing off, and now he's right up here battling it out with one of the best in all of just sim racing as a whole when it comes to circle tracks.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be best on best here as Michael Conti looks to make a move on the outside of Sean Conklin, carry that momentum around to the front straightaway. He's going to make it stick. Sean slides up just a little bit, but Sean gets the better run off. I believe Conti had to acquiesce there a little bit because of Sean coming out.
Oh, when he gets to the bumper to 1.
The bumper comes out in turns 1 and 2. No patience being shown there from either of these guys. Now Conti's got the inside in 3 and 4, and Sean's going to have what I believe is that preferred outside right now.
But here comes Conti trying to get to the power a little bit quicker. It's going to be a dead heat down the front straightaway. A little bit of contact at the line. Sean Conklin leads that lap, but here we come into turn 1. Who's going to come out on top? Down to the bottom of the track is Michael Conti, neck and neck out of turn 2. Conklin with another great run down the back straightaway to sum himself up into 3.
The wily old veteran versus the new age rookie going at it once again here in the OB Builders Cup Series as they come across the line side by side. Conti led that lap, but Conklin's putting the pressure on him as he tries to keep him down low, pinching him off corner exit. But Conti will clear by a knife's edge around the outside, inside, and moves up in front as Paul Bergoli comes down pit road.
Yeah, what's going to be interesting here as we progress on through this race, now this battle for the lead is settled down, is if everybody's cars are going to stay the same balance-wise, if Conti's going to be able to maintain that edge that he has right now on Sean as the track rubbers in. Traditionally, we see Sean come back at everybody in the field as the track is rubbered in. That is where Sean is at his best. Is he going to be able to make that advantage stick here tonight?
And the thing that I've been seeing on that 38 since we dropped the green flag is his persistency. I was talking about, running the track more like 5 flags and less like, some of the other short tracks we go to. Just get down there on that paint, run it all the way through, run shallow entries and shallow exits. And that's what we're seeing out of that 38 car. And it looks like, maybe I was pointing in the right direction on that all week.
Yeah, Sheldon, I definitely think you were. This track is so new. There's so many different ways you can attack as we look on board of Justin Levine trying to knife, or not on board, but camera on, as we look at Justin Levine trying to knife his way through lap traffic, I believe. Yeah, because he is in 4th. His next car for position is Roger Pierce. As we see Paul Bergoli, who just came out of the pit road, slicing through these guys too.
Paul Bergoli trying to get himself back on the lead lap here. A rough race for him in that 12 machine.
Yeah, Paul, he is a great racer. And there's some tracks that just fit his style to a T, like at Texas. I remember him being so tough to beat at Texas. It just seems like something ain't clicking for that 12 machine here tonight at Richmond.
Yes, one of those abnormal weekends or weeks here for Paul, because man, all season it's felt like he's really clicked it up as we see Patrick Gitter, the first car down pit road again here in the 21 Heartbeat of America Chevrolet.
Yeah, Patrick always does something contrarian on pit road, be it either go extremely long or pit extremely early to try to make something work. I believe he may be trying a 3-stop strategy and splitting this race into quarters.
I'll tell you what, his willingness to go and do the exact opposite of what everybody else has done has paid off very well for him this year. I mean, I initially think of Dover, where everybody was, blowing tires and freaking out about the long run pace, and Gitter and DeCiani just underdrove the car all race long, and Gitter was able to walk away with the 1-2 with his teammate for Fortis.
Why don't you just tell me I suck, huh, Sheldon?
No, I ain't telling you suck. I did the same thing.
I
did the same thing, man.
I blew my tires off, and he did that strategy and beat me.
In A Open, I did the same damn thing. I blew a tire Tuesday night. Killed it. Absolutely smoked the wall.
And Dover's a beast of its own. I've just got to give another shout out to all the drivers in this series. Being able to go 136 laps green, as you said, the average length of an A Open or NIS this week has been at maximum 8 green flag laps. It just goes to show what a great lead that Randy's put together here.
Absolutely. I just wish that all these cars that we race against at A Open would race like this at A Open and NIS as well, because it's the same guys. It just shows you the structure, though, that they're not afraid to throw the hammer when they need to, when somebody deserves it. It's definitely a great series that they built together here with the OB Botus Cup.
Oh, trouble for a couple of other cars here who have hit the wall once again off turn number 2. Right there, the 64 machine of Russell Black struggling as he goes into battle with Chris Hudson for the 19th spot. Hudson on the inside, Black on the outside. As they go side by side, Russell holds a position for the time, but Chris Hudson with the inside advantage. Mr. Consistency will find his way through as they come around. Chris Vincent also getting around Jeffrey Taylor for position in the 17th spot.
And not necessarily the night that I was expecting to see out of the 43 machine of Chris Hudson. He was so good at Iowa a couple weeks ago, and good at all the other short tracks even bringing it to. But tonight, just kind of a miss here for the 43 machine. But 140 laps on the board, and these guys have just absolutely screaming around this short track here in Virginia. I think it's a good time to rev it up. board here as we watch the battle for 6th place start to shake up. Adam Benefield getting to the back bumper of the 97 machine of Reese Schaefer. Schaefer losing a little bit of time here. Not able to work that bottom lane quite as well as Benefield. This is kind of what Benefield seems to do, though, when we come to the short tracks. Just gets it glued right down to the paint. Did it at Iowa a few weeks ago and just builds on these long runs. As you see him take the pass out of turn 2 down the back straightaway, moving himself up to P6.
Really good run through here for Adam Benefield. Definitely a big recovery that we are seeing compared to what we saw at Watkins Glen a week ago as he works his way through up into the top 5, trying to catch up to Dylan Banks, currently 3/4 of a second behind. There you see him right there as that 48 machine is just trying to hold station for the moment. Really doing a good effort here. Actually one of the faster drivers inside the top 5 as he tries to see if he can close in, but so far falling into the clutches of Adam Benefield.
Adam's just such an impressive driver when it comes to this. He is always, and no matter what race he is, he's always so smart, knows when to race and let people go. As we go see Justin Levine going out inside of a lap car. I can't see what number that is because that bright spec map. Going back to Adam here, he is always such a consistent driver, knows when to be aggressive and knows when to be smart. He always finds himself in these top 5 to top 12 situations. May not always end up with the result because, you know, that is where the restart slop happens when we do get restarts, but he's always in contention for those top 5s.
Benefield is just another one of those guys that the adaptability for that driver is just insane. He's one of them that's been around for a long time. I remember him absolutely beating my ass week in and week out in the B car back in 2018. I think, basically three B cars ago. And here he is, you know, in the Cup car today, which is entirely different. We've got one car whip against the fence out of turn 2, up into the wall.
We're going to see if he can make it down to pit road as we watch a battle here between Derek Heitman and Keegan Sabila. I believe that car in the wall may have a blown tire or a broken toe link. If he can't get to pit road, it may be trouble.
That's the last thing you want to have here at Richmond. These things which knock the toe links out and get really dicey, especially down the straightaways.
As we see Derek Heitman complete that pass on Keegan Sabilo for a spot in the top 10. Keegan washes up in front of a hard-charging Paul Bergold. Now remember, Paul's on that offset strategy. He's going to try to make as much time as he can to try to make this work. Keegan gets a huge run back to the outside of Derek. I don't know if Derek got loose or what coming out of turn 3 and 4 there, but Keegan just out of nowhere re-challenging for the top 10.
Yeah, Keegan's been working pretty hard here to be fast at Richmond. Takes these short tracks with a lot of stride. You know, Cat races in real life, a lot of late model stuff. And he's been
that paint scheme is kind of iconic on the sim now. You see it on the whenever you turn on a random race on flow. Sometimes in the Midwest, you will see that paint scheme ripping around a short track.
Keegan working the top line, which is a little out of character for him right now. I guess trying to find momentum to hold him above Derek Heitman. So we got our eyes on that battle, and Lou Christian doing a pretty good job this evening. Just keeping the thing pointing in the right direction. On an altering strategy here, was running right around 10th, 11th earlier. Just hanging in there.
Keeping an eye here as we watch Lou Christian hunt down the drivers you see ahead, but so far he's got a little bit of work to do as Derek Heitman puts on a good run. He's trying to keep up that pace here as we see them work their way through off turn 2. Unfortunately, I think Lou Christian's kind of just now in that settle-in pace, and I'm also been looking at the temperature right now as we progress further in this race. We've already dropped 2 degrees, and Tommy, I want to come to you on this a little bit. We've been talking about tire wear. We've been talking about changes throughout the race. How is that temperature now? We are down 2 degrees. How much of an effect is that going to be for the handling as well as also the tire degradation of these cars?
You know, any heat you can take out of the racetrack is a great thing because that tire is not going to be slipping against the surface as much. And especially when we have the amount of rubber that we have on this track with, I believe, 37 starters going around here for 159 laps. The rubber buildup is huge. And then when you pair that, like you said, Taylor, with the track temp drop, the degradation is going to go down, the speeds are going to pick up, and like I was saying earlier, this is when we usually see Sean at his best. We're going to see if he has anything for Michael Conti in this last run.
Main thing you got to be careful though with when the words are hard. when the track gets cool and you start to have that tire wear go down a little bit, you get a little more grip in the surface. I've always noticed that to be kind of a false sense of security, and a lot of people fall for it. Where, you know, you got more grip going in the corner, so you think, oh, hell yeah, I can send the car a little bit deeper. And then by the time you do that for about 15, 20 laps, you just blow the tires out of it way worse than you would have when the track was hot.
Yeah, it can lull you into a false sense of security as we see Adam Benefield looking to make a move to get into the top 5 underneath the graham cracker machine of Dylan Banks here coming out of turn 4.
Big slide.
It's a huge moment there for Adam Benefield underneath of him. But yes, it can provide you a false sense of security. But what you have to do is you can overdrive that entry, but just as long as you slow it down on center and not slide those tires center, it can pay dividends. Adam's looking to re-challenge Dylan here down into 3.
And see Benefield working that bottom line here. Benefield been doing such a great job keeping these tires alive here into the late stages, but just struggling so hard to get past Dylan Banks. And that's it's another one of those guys for Ryko and Victory 1 that is really difficult to pass.
Yeah, Dylan definitely doesn't make it easy on you, and especially when he's running a Grady Graham Cracker Racing paint scheme. You know Grady, you know he's not an easy one to pass either, so it's like using a Pokemon power-up here tonight for Dylan.
Seems to be working in his favor because he is going toe-to-toe with one of the top drivers here as we watch them come off of turn 2. Banks hits the wall a little bit, and trouble for Jeffrey Taylor. Loses it nearly off of turn 2, but is able to gather it back up briefly as we watch this battle for P5. But Benefield doing everything he can to put that pressure on the young gun here in the OB Builders Cup Series. Tries to get that inside, finds the opening side by side as they come off of turn 2. And they're going to drag race down to 3, but Banks just being incredible with utilizing that outside lane.
Yeah, there's definitely a finesse to running the outside here at Richmond, as I've said. If you can figure out that finesse and not to kill your tires when you're defending like Dylan is here and has been for the last several laps, when you're coming out of turn 2, right here, you can see in the light shading where that transition is. It is so difficult to maintain the momentum consistently like Dylan's doing. And then here in 3 and 4, it is much easier because you got the car pending inside. As Adam clears him up off the corner, we're going to see Dylan re-challenges here, or he leaves it alone. It looks like he's going to acquiesce and let the 83 machine move on his way as he goes charging after Justin Levine for P4.
I feel absolutely moving right now. That lap he ran a 22.781 to Justin Levine's 22.790. So these dudes still pretty even. I feel like Justin's probably losing a little bit of time too because he's mired in some pretty heavy lap traffic, taking the oh-so viable clean air off the nose of that 19 Camry.
Keep an eye on Levine as we watch him work his way through 22.9 right now. So he's up there to where he can maybe try to hunt down Sean Conklin and Roger Pierce if that run progresses for him. But right now he is just trying to just settle in, I would have to say, just watching his pace here. He's in a good position to get some valuable points for him as he tries to keep up with the pace that Sean Conklin's been having this season.
Yeah, he's going to pick up a little bit, though, if he wants to reel in. That 27 machine of Pierce was running 0.2 a lap quicker. Pierce has picked it up, though, a little bit here. Last time by, ran a 22.7 himself. So, Levine just hanging on right now for dear life.
Yeah, as with everybody in this field, even your leader, Michael Conti, and your second place driver, Sean Conklin, they may look like they have it under control, but trust me, they are all over the shop trying to nurse this thing to the next pit stop as we are inside of 100 to go, coming to 90 to go this time by.
Conti right now working on putting the 76 machine of Derek Heitman a lap down. That is your 11th place runner at the moment.
The pace that Conti and Conklin and Roger Pierce are setting here tonight is absolutely incredible. How often is it that you say somebody in 11th place is being put a lap down? Absolutely incredible.
Heitman opting to let him have it here through 1 and 2 as the 95 machine absolutely steamrolls the wall down the back straightaway in front of him. Sorry, the 58. It's Richard Kleiman. He's going to come down pit road here and get 4 freshies. We've also got Matt DeCiani on pit road right now.
And that's another one who follows us. As Sean is also in pit road, he's going to try to play that track position game to get a head jump over Conti as Justin Levine continues on, and Adam Benefield breathing right down his neck. We also see the 27 machine of Roger Pearson for this time.
At this point, these guys trying to come down, make an adjustment, force Conti's hand to come in. They're 75 laps down at the stripe this time. As we look at Levine, and look at this, man. Just how big of a lead? 4 wide almost down the back straightaway. A couple cars coming off of pit road. Everybody making it through 3 and 4. Yes, they do.
Close call right there for a lot of drivers, as we're still watching Reese Schaefer having to negotiate, as the 58 of Richard Kleinman has to now go around with fresher tires. John Binder in the 23 machine, and also will do his battle. But we go up to Benefield and Justin Levine battling for that second spot. Here comes those drivers with fresh tires. Contact between the two of them as they drag race down into turn number 1. Watching Benefield completes the pass on Levine as Kleinman and Binder are all really putting some pressure, wanting to try to close in and get their lap back if that opportunity allows it. I'd say that is going to be a little bit tricky, and for these drivers right here, we push the envelope too much, and for our lead lap cars, try not to get caught up in the entanglement of these drivers.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is somebody coming out of pit road, especially in Shawners. We see Roger moving up, absolutely flying by. As Roger's probably going to make it 3 wide down here in the 3. As he does, Adam Benefield on the far outside of that 9 car of Chris Crosby, and it quickly sorts itself off with the tire offset.
You know what, too, another thing that hasn't really been mentioned by any of us up here in the booth, all these guys out here are probably just about worn out, falling out behind the rigs. Because Richmond, you know, naturally very physical track. Couple that with the fact that we've gone green 179 laps coming to 180 here. And pretty sure everybody's a little worn out of just the white knuckle chasing the wheel all the way around here.
Conti pitting.
With how difficult the exits are. You see Conti on pit road as well as Benefield.
Yeah, this is definitely a moment when you're coming down pit road, you're going.
Keep an eye here on the competition, as now Justin Levine gives position away to Reese Schaefer for that race lead here as they continue on to do battle for that spot. Conti still on pit road, as now the final, which could be the final pit stop cycles, as here comes Michael Conti off pit road. Schaefer, Levine, and Banks will battle it out for your top 3, as we see a couple of lap traffic drivers trying to get around Schaefer to get one of their laps back.
I'll tell you what, if I'm Levine right now, I'm sitting there, I'm asking Causey, hey, buddy, is your arm itching?
Oh, and as they watch on here, here's Joseph Causey, who we haven't talked a whole lot about him. I haven't said a single word about him all night. He's struggled a little bit. He went a lap down early on, and right now for the driver, Joseph Causey, he still sits 33rd, 3 laps down, not having a great night for him in that DeWalt machine as he tries to find a way to recover. Adam Benefield right there behind him, trying to get around him as quickly as possible, and will do so, moving up a couple of runs to try and get his way further up, as they're 3 wide heading down into turn 1 up ahead with a couple of drivers. Caution out.
Oh, we got a caution. 2 cars slow in the front straightaway. Looks like Lou Christian is one of them. Oh, Richard Kleinman slid through the grass.
Got to lose right there off turn number 4. Yeah. Slid through the grass and couldn't hold the brakes as he went up the racetrack right there. Lou Christian could not have missed the opportunity, unfortunately, as he nearly hits him and unfortunately hits the outside wall and brings us our first caution, 183 laps, as we watch another replay on board.
Well, this changes everything. I just don't think Christian could have anticipated that car would come back up on the track like that, because it looked like he had it just straightened out there in the grass. The first caution on the boards here. We're going to send off to a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be back to bring you the rest of the racing action here for the OB Builders Cup on the grid.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite.
And welcome back. As you see them work through the restart zone here. Michael Conti, your race leader, over Justin Levine and Reese Schaefer. Already 7 laps done here at Richmond. I'm Sheldon Atkins, joined by Taylor Burris, as well as Austin Derbyshire in the production truck. Green forward, Michael Conti with a couple car lengths advantage. There's a little bit of side-by-side action now as Pastelacqua is going to battle with the 77 machine of Keegan Stabile and trying to throw a block on Sean Conklin here to 1. And Conklin sends him around in front of the field, and a hard hit for Derek Heitman.
And Roger
still
Pierce.
wrecking Roger Pierce.
Oh, the heartbreak there for Pastelacqua and company. Roger Pierce, too. Russell Black also gets collected in the incident. Let's take a look at the replay right here. Pastelacqua's right there on the bottom. There you see Sean Conklin going to the third bottom lane. And then there's the contact. Just, I'd have to say that's about as a punt as you can get right there.
Yeah, he just about drove through him there. I mean, I get it, you know, it's 190 laps in, but I mean, hell, we still got 70 laps left in this thing. I get out there and bend sheet metal just yet.
And especially with the speed that we saw right there from the driver of Sean Conklin, as Roger Pierce thought he was safe, and nope.
Yeah,
there's two of your major front runners out of the competition.
There's nothing Pierce could have done to avoid that. You know, comes in there on the top line. He's committed for the outside lane. Can't see it. They're wrecking down there on the bottom in 1, and next thing he knows, all the cars are up there in front of him. There's no way to get through. It's right on board with Derek Heitman. This doesn't get any prettier. And that's 100% day done for Heitman.
Pit stop cycles for a couple of other drivers who decide to come down to top off, but Pastelacqua, Heitman, Pierce, all definitely working on damage as Heitman has taken it behind the wall. His night is done.
That's just a rough break for those guys that got caught up in that.
70 laps to go. We saw this happen for you guys on Wednesday night where we were in the double digits left to go in the race and chaos ensued.
It's definitely cautions breed cautions thing, but I feel like cooler heads could have probably prevailed on that scenario. It's a tough end of things too, as well for Brandon Pastelacqua, who carved his way through this field to get up into the top 10. But hey, now we get to see Justin Levine go at it neck and neck with Michael Conti.
The Thursday NIS winner here tonight at Richmond for Justin Levine. So
after that NIS win earlier today too, I'm pretty sure that anything else on the week is just gravy for Justin Levine.
I mean, that is pretty much one of the biggest things you could do when you race in the NASCAR iRacing series or a NASCAR driver on the iRacing service. If you can get one of the 4 open top split wins that happens during the week in the NIS season, it is a badge of honor. Not even just the top split, just winning your split in NIS is a badge of honor in some cases.
Tell you what, whether it's top split, second split, third split, any one of the splits I've won NIS in, they all feel the same when you come across the start-finish line at the end of 200 laps.
I can't say I've only had the pleasure of winning one NIS split in my career, and it was at Talladega, of course. But as we get set to go back racing, Conti and Levine lead us to the green flag as we get set to go back racing, and Conti with a great jump fires off perfectly. Levine caught sleeping a little bit right there.
Yeah, Conti going to build a couple car lengths advantage here. Levine going to try and muscle it into turn 1, use the top line, but it's not going to pay off here. As Reese Schaefer is going to be able to clear him down the backstretch. A little bit of contact there. And it looks like, oh no, Keegan Stabile gets the punt.
Can he save it? He does, but that's going to cause a big checkup and pile up right there. We don't get the big one, but everyone here, as
we got a yellow
again.
And was that shot for Sabilo where the same shot from Pasalacqua came from is my question.
We'll have to take a look at the replay as the number 2 machine looped it around, unfortunately for him. Hit the 2 and Kleiman were the reason for the caution, but I do want to see the incident that happened between Sabila and more issues for the 61 machine of Thomas O'Hara, who also got looped around with Joshua Hyatt.
See what happened with Sabilo here.
Same thing.
Sean just cleans him out.
That's tough right there. Happening. I know he wasn't the reason for the caution, and Sabila did a great job to recover, but still, that's 2 back-to-back.
That's just the last thing Keegan needed. I mean, as we see the wreck that happens on the back straightaway here. It's into the back of him and nowhere for Hyatt to go, so it's kind of a double-edged sword there for Hyatt. Tell you what, it was a great clean racing to start this thing off, man, but it is definitely spiraled here.
Seeing who decides to come down pit road. I see Levine thinking about it, thinks better of it. It's going to stay out on the racetrack. Sabila rejoins the circuit along with Luke Christian and Brandon Pasalacqua.
Field still well in the hands of Michael Conti as we close in on that 60 lap to go mark here this evening. You know, we may have had a rough stretch of it here with these last 2 cautions coming back to back, but nonetheless, this has been probably one of the best races I think I've ever had the opportunity to cover at a short track. I don't know about you, Taylor.
Yeah, I have to say it's up there with one of the best green flag running we've seen here with these drivers at Richmond Raceway, I have to say. Not the best short track race I've seen overall, but a good one still. Richard Kleiman takes it behind the wall. His night is done, joining Heitman along with the driver of Brian Johnson as far as out of the race. We have a total of 16 cars on the lead lap. Randy Mullins, the first car, 1 lap down. Josh Schaffner, Joshua Hyatt, and Matt DeCiani are in the double digits of laps down. So they got some work to do, unfortunately for them, as we circle through the field and double them back up to get set to go back racing here once again.
I do hope we don't get too many more cautions because I'm definitely looking forward to running the 12:30 tonight. The car track combo has been pretty addictive to me this week. I am a masochist, Darby. Thanks for pointing that out. Working into the restart zone here. Field in the hands of Michael Conti and Reese Schaefer. Green flag is out. Michael Conti through the gears quick again. Another great launch for the 38 Chevrolet. Working down to 1 and 2. Everything clean so far for your front runners. As you see Dylan Banks trying to get underneath the 97 machine of Reese Schaefer down the backstretch.
Side by side for that battle for 3rd position. Sean Conklin sitting in the catbird seat in 5th as Schaefer on the outside. Banks on the inside. Let's see how this goes down into turn 1. Conklin tries to follow Dylan Banks through the corner. Cannot make it work. He'll then stay tucked up behind as they bow side by side behind them as well, with Chris Vincent and Patrick Gitter battling for the 6th spot.
And around goes Dylan Banks on the front straightaway.
Keep it down below the line.
And he does. He like a true gentleman, keeps the thing out of the racing groove, keeps us from getting another caution. Big tip of the hat to the driver behind the wheel of the 48 machine. That is the first mistake he has made all night, and man, it's such a shame because he's run so good all week long.
Yeah, you see right here, the car gets a little bit too light off corner exit, and he'll lock some brakes down, get below the yellow line, and just keep it straight and forward, joins back safely to avoid any more contact as we go back to live action, and Conklin moves up a spot as Gitter also in the top 5 as we watch the battle for second between Levine, Schaefer, and Conklin, and it's going to be a good one amongst them as we are closing in under 60 laps to go.
And Conklin dives onto the bottom here in a 1 and 2 to try and get to the inside of the 97 of Schaefer. And with a huge run, going to send it down the back straightaway to try and clear the 97 machine, but not quite able to do it yet. Schaefer trying to fight back on the outside, oversteps it a little bit into turn 3, loses a little bit of time, and it's going to go to Conklin here for third.
Battle a little bit behind between Alex Coffey and Chris Vincent for the 6th spot. How about Alex Coffey having a great run here tonight inside the top 10? Give him a round of applause as Adam Benefield looking to get around both of them, along with Paul Bergoli, who's made some interesting strategy calls to get him a shot of a top 10 run. Paul Gallimore also right behind in 10th.
Side here on the front straightaway down to the bottom of the track. Alex Coffey trying it again on the 33 machine of Vincent. Slides up the hill a little bit of contact out of turn 2. Vincent scrapes the wall, but keeps the momentum up, and he's going to clear him just about into turn 3. I got a little up the hill, though. I don't think he's going to be able to hold it here on the front straightaway.
Chris Vincent able to power move his way around right there for the position. Now opens the door for Benefield to see if he can follow suit, but Gallimore and company watching on. Coffey slaps the wall a little bit off turn 2.
Tell you what, this race has just fallen into the laps of both Vincent and Coffey. Both of them, running pretty far out back in the pack to start this thing off, and the way the cautions fell, 6 and 7, it's a great run for these two. I wouldn't say it's a fluke. Both of these guys very well capable of running in that top 10 every week. But sometimes a little bit of lady luck pointing in the right direction can help you really seal the deal, and it looks like it's working for them.
Absolutely. Really good run for them as they continue to do so across the line, sitting comfortably inside the top 10 as Benefield shows the nose to the inside of Coffey. And he will drag race Alex Coffey off turn 2. Gets a little loose, though. That's going to have him back it down a little bit. Paul Bergoli try to see if he can capitalize on the mistake of Benefield.
Be able to close much there, Bergoli. Really good run into the corner, though. Closes up that advantage quite a bit, but it just seems like he doesn't have that drive off that he needs. Maybe just sending the car a little too deep in there and overstepping it through center, hurting himself off. And Benefield takes a peek down to the bottom here into turn 1 on the 20 machine of Coffey. Coffey trying to work the outside line, hold on to that spot down the back straightaway with a bit of an advantage. 3 and 4, then Benefield is just so good tucking that bottom line to get him the run through center. And he's going to clear him into 1. Coffey going to try and settle back in line, but here comes Bergoli to the back bumper.
Coffey just shut the door right there on Bergoli to get that spot and maintain it ahead of Paul Bergoli for the 8th spot, and that was some close racing right there amongst the two of them as they come off of turn number 4. Across the line, here we go back at it once again, and now the battle for 9th between Daniel Wiles and Bergoli as Bergoli goes to the top side.
Hey, what? Coffey, pretty bold move to shut the door on Bergoli, though. That's it's not necessarily a guy that you want to play with too much. As you see Bergoli sitting around the outside here, trying to get past as Wiles gets a huge shot on the fence coming out of turn 4. And Bergoli going to take that spot away from Coffey.
One of the few passes we've seen made on the outside lane for sure. Bergoli making it work for him as he will continue on his way, trying to chase down Chris Vincent and Adam Benefield, who still battle for the 6th spot.
All the changes this track has gone through, I'm sure there's a couple extra grooves out here these guys don't even know about yet that might be viable.
Well, we started off at 87 degrees with the track temperature. It is now down to 82 track temperature, so we have definitely cooled it off there. The grip is out there for sure as we watch the drivers of Chris Vincent and Adam Benefield still battling for the 6th position. Down to the bottom of the racetrack, Benefield sends it through, hugs that yellow line as best that he can. He'll get the run off turn 2 as Vincent taps the wall.
Good clean pass for Benefield, moving himself up just outside of the top 5. Now setting his sights forward to the 21 machine of Patrick Gitter, who's working on nursing home a top 5 finish. It ain't over yet, man. We still got long ways left in this thing.
Not a bad call for you so far with the Patrick Gitter call.
Absolutely not. I've gotten to call the guy to a couple throughout the past couple years.
Sean Conklin trying to close back in on Justin Levine. The gap is under 0.4 of a second. Both of them running similar lap times. They're both trading off and on with who was faster, who was not here. As they come across the line, Levine a 21.92, Conklin a 21.96. So they're both right there in amongst the mix, just how well they take care of their equipment as we progress further and further into this run as we watch the two of them go at it. Conklin now going up to the top side. Schaefer also one of those drivers who runs that middle groove. Levine stays tucked to the bottom of the racetrack as they cross the line. We're closing in closer and closer to the end of this race, under 50 laps to go.
You see, back there in third place, Conklin trying different lanes right now, trying to find a way to get clean air to the nose of that car so he can get to the back bumper of Justin Levine in the 19. As Bergoli makes a pass here on Danny Wiles.
That is for 7th position as they both got around Chris Vincent. Vincent all the way back to P9 right there. So Vincent starting to fade off a little bit after we thought he would have had a strong run.
Oh, hard into the wall out of 2 for Vincent.
That's the reason why. He's been tapping that wall right there off turn 2. We've been touching on that all night long. Turn 2 is not your friend.
I think he did more than touch on it there. That was a really hard shot for the 33 machine. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't break the double dale there.
Get another look at it right here. Off.
It's way tight there.
We go back live and watch the action. Apologies on the replay here, but as we watch the two drivers work their way through, Vincent starting to fall into the clutches of Alex Coffey. If this keeps up, Chris Vincent will be out of the top 10 here in the next handful of laps.
Battle for second place starting to heat up right now. Sean Conklin's looming closer to the back bumper of the 19 machine of Justin Levine. In that outside line, but the question is, we've seen so many people go up there today and just absolutely chatter off those tires. How long is this going to last for Conklin?
So far, as long as they haven't approached lap traffic just yet, this could be where he can find his footing and make the run up to the race lead here. If he gets a good run down the back straightaway, he might look to the outside once again, tries to see if he can sail it in there, but Levine gets a good run off corner exit. Conklin tries to cross him up a little bit and try to go to the inside, sends it in, side by side, battle for second as they come off of turn number 2, and Conklin's going to try to push Levine up the track a little bit.
Oh,
Levine's,
big wiggle for Conklin.
That's going to cause Levine to get that second spot back and settles back in for the time being. As Conklin is now having to deal with pressure from Reese Schaefer.
Yeah, Conklin had a big wiggle out of turn 2. Settled in, coming into turn 3, got a mouthful of dirty air off the back of the 19 machine. Man, that was just a terrible turn of events there for the driver of your 10 Camry. Now he's got to try and line back up and do it all over again, but with a little bit less tire now than he did a few laps ago. And look at Schaefer, just the patience that this cat has had in this 97 machine all race long. It's really starting to pay off as he's bringing these two back in closer.
That's my only concern right now with what Conklin's doing. He's been really putting some hard runs there on his set of tires at the moment. Levine putting some pressure on, but also not really sending it in deep like we're seeing Conklin do. That's allowing drivers like Reese Schaefer to come back into a chance for a fight. And then, of course, for Michael Conti, he continues to pull away from the rest of the field, about a 2-second advantage over Levine and Conklin.
You got to remember, too, these two are in the midst of a championship hunt, Levine and Conklin. Yeah, there's a lot of points separated between these two. But, any opportunity you get, if you're Levine, you want to finish ahead of that 10 machine. Play the mind games with them and get out there and get those extra points.
Absolutely, and you got to do it here now. And in order to try to do it, as we take a look at the live championship point standings, currently as we run, Still Conklin ahead of Levine, but that gap's starting to get a little bit tighter amongst the two of them. Baskalakwa still comfortable in the 3rd position, even with a 12th place run right now.
The guy in 9th, his name sounds familiar to me for some reason.
Alex Coffey?
On the championship standings. I think it was Gosek or something like that. He was in here?
Happened to him. He was
in here?
In here. I think so.
In my booth?
I think so. From last
That's
night,
crazy.
it is crazy.
Yeah, shame. Tommy had a little technical issue, but it was definitely great to have him in the booth, as long as we could have him. Let's look at Keegan Sabila right now, trying to get to the outside of Alex Coffey on the comeback tour here after getting spun a handful of laps ago by the 10 machine. Sabila looking at that outside line. I mean, it's impressive that he's got himself back into the top 10 because we've seen how difficult it is for some of these guys to carve through traffic.
And the thing is, he wants to go for more as he tries to get around the outside of Alex Coffey and deal with the pressure from Luke Christian, who sits in 11th. But Keegan Sabila doing a great job as he backs up a little bit. Luke Christian gets on his back bumper, and then here's the run coming off corner exit for Keegan Sabila. That's where he's really shown the pace as he'll try to go around the outside once again of Alex Coffey for 9th.
Also, Sean Conklin falling into the clutches now of Reese Schaefer as Reese works the outside line through 3 and 4.
Schaefer has a good run coming through, and he has been running a little bit faster. Not significant, but just enough to put some pressure on the number 10 machine of Sean Conklin as they come off at turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Schaefer trying to pull forward a little bit. Not going to work for him, though, as they come out of turn number 4.
I mean, it's just so impressive out of Reese, though. Like I've stated multiple times before, you know, this guy didn't touch his wheel, I think, until this week. As Conklin, a little bit of a network issue coming into turn 1 there.
A little bit issues right there as we're on board with Schaefer as he tries to find his opening for a shot of a podium run here tonight. Under 30 laps to go. He'll try to go around the outside. Can't quite make it work. Here comes a big run, though, for him as they head down the front straightaway.
Schaefer all over the back bumper, using the outside lane, trying to find an advantage over the 10 machine of Conklin. Schaefer just finding great momentum, but Conklin's going to hold even with him down the back straightaway that time.
He's doing a great job of just holding that line through and getting the run he needs off quarter exit. That is what is helping Sean Conklin stay ahead of Reese Schaefer. Schaefer has the better entry. Conklin has the better drive off.
And look who's sneaking his way into the picture here.
I wonder if it's a Mr. Adam Benefield.
I think it's an Adam Benefield fall by Patrick Gitter. Representation for Chevrolet out here tonight. They're sitting 4th and 5th. Sorry, 5th and 6th.
Yeah, incredible job.
Schaefer just hounding the back bumper of that 10 machine here. Trying to get an advantage, but it looks like he's mired right now. And Conklin doing a good job maintaining what he's got and holding on for dear life.
How about Patrick Gitter making his recovery drive? Also, Keegan Sabila also about to close in on Chris Vincent as well. Move up into the top 8 because he is putting a lot of pressure on him to get around.
It doesn't surprise me too much. Short tracks is Keegan Sabila's bread and butter. This is what he lives for. This is what he goes to the track for on Friday nights and Saturdays.
Absolutely.
And Chris, just a great job. Taking the best out of a bad hand today and making it a great race. 33 car. He's been up and down all night, but settling in here in this top 10, you cannot give him enough applause for that.
No, you cannot. And he's going to do a great job, I hope, for the rest of the season. Pick up some much-needed points for him in his run this season. As here comes Luke Christian with a big run and see if he can get to the inside of Chris as they come down the front straightaway. Under 20 laps to go.
Battle of the RCR 3s out here right now for 9th place.
Absolutely.
Conti is just checked out from the field. Sitting there with a 3.5 second advantage almost to Justin Levine in second. Levine, no pressure behind him now. That 10 machine of Conklin, about a second and a half back.
Yeah, really good run right now for Levine. He seems to have that car tuned up a little bit for that middle to long run here for him at this time. That is helping him pull away from Sean Conklin and company.
Hey, Richmond's always been pretty good at Justin Levine, I can tell you that.
There we see Michael Conti now holding the charge, 3.5 seconds ahead, and continues to pull away from the competition as he leads the charge heading off at turn 1, and that's the best thing he's got. Clean track ahead. No other cars around. He is just out there smooth sailing it here to bring it home for a finish.
Yeah, right now he's just praying for 16 laps to tick off the board. Nobody to do anything stupid. No cautions, no spins. Just get this thing over with. Get it done and dusted. Because, you know, when you end up dominating these races like this, it always feels like it's something that happens in those last 10 laps that just completely derail everything that you've worked for. And a lot of times it ends up falling into somebody else's hands.
It certainly does, and we see right now between these competitors that it is so far playing out and how this long run is going to work out, because we shouldn't expect anybody to come down pit road at all here to wrap up the conclusion of tonight's broadcast here as they watch the battle for Lou Christian and Chris Vinson for 9th. Lou finally finds his opening, gets around Chris Vinson for the 9th spot, and see what he can do to see if he can chase down Keegan Sabila.
Everybody else side by single file here for the most part. Oh, belt tags the fence a little bit out of turn 4.
Yeah, but he's able to keep it clean and straightforward for the moment. Let's hope that continues as trouble for another car.
Hard in the
Jeffrey
wall.
Jeffrey Taylor into the wall.
He was trying to run that outside line, hopped it over the marbles, and just blew down the fence through 1 and 2.
He certainly did, and he's got to make sure he can hold on to that machine as here comes the driver of Michael Conti. 10 laps to go for your leader.
Times, Taylor, have you had the opportunity to cover a Conti win? I feel like this happened probably once or twice by now with your career in broadcasting, right?
Not really, actually. I mean, I've had the chance of interviewing Michael Conti and some things, but not really as far as a race like we're seeing here today. I can tell you I've had my fair share of calling Steven Wilson victories.
You look right now through the field, and man, I can't give enough credit to Justin Levine here, man. Sitting there 2nd place. Things almost over. Big NIS win this morning, and out here bringing it to some of the best of them here tonight in the OB Builders Cup.
Absolutely, as the field works their way down, under 10 laps to go, and Reese Schaefer really trying every which way he can to get around Sean Conklin for that final step of the podium.
Yeah, working that outside line now, trying to find momentum, just trying to find anything that would give him an advantage over that 10 machine. But with Sean Conklin behind the wheel of it, I don't think you're going to find anything unless he makes a big mistake in front of you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Good luck with Sean. Oh, Ray Schaefer goes too wide.
It was too wide. That was too late in the braking, I think. Just about knocked down the fence. I think all that searching and hunting, I think he's going to call it quits on that pretty quick after that maneuver.
Yes, he will, and I'm surprised he's still able to hold on to that position ahead of Benefield for the time being, as Patrick Gitter and Daniel Wiles will do battle, and this is bringing in Keegan Sabilo.
How about this run for Daniel Wiles? The names that we don't really get the opportunity to mention, or I don't think we even thought about him much this year, but that 13 machine's looking pretty dang good. They're battling with Patrick Gitter. You know, if you're out there racing against Gitter, you know you're doing something right, because Gitter's somebody that's won just about everywhere he's been planted on the iRacing service. You see Sabilo all the way up in the Larson line through 3 and 4. They even hit the wall like the Larson line.
He certainly did, making the Larson line as authentic as possible right here as they work their way through side by side off turn number 2. Gitter holding strong here, but Daniel Wiles tries to see if he can send it into the inside, but Gitter holds the position, clears him off turn number 4 as Luke Christian and Keegan Sabila battle behind.
What an impressive race the OB Builders Cup Series has put together here this evening from Richmond. A track that's constantly been mired by rough races and wrecks throughout the years. Notorious for being a caution fest, and these guys came out here, some of the best, and put together a great performances. We got a battle for third, heating up again. The 97 machine of Schaefer's back to the rear bumper of Conklin.
He certainly is, and he's going to put the pressure on here with 3 to go off turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Schaefer gets a great run. Conklin tries to go on the defensive, going where we see, but Schaefer doing the exact opposite and just trying to find that clean air. Conklin shuts the door on, but here comes Schaefer down to the bottom of the racetrack. Side by side, does he try to move him up a little bit? So far, it's going to be a drag race off turn number 2. Do they bang doors? No, they keep it clean off turn 2. Side by side, but Conklin noses ahead. But a Schaefer with that inside advantage is going to help. White flag in the air.
On the inside here on the front straightaway, but we get back to the for a second, a little bit out of turn 2. Your race leader, Michael Conti, started this thing off in 26th position and has fought and clawed his way to the front of the field. Out of turn 4 and across the line to make it official. Michael Conti is going to win here for the OB Builders Cup Series, and they are door-to-door in 3 and 4.
Drag race to the line. It is going to be Reese Schaefer by a nose.
What a run for Reese. And what a run for Michael Conti. Started this thing off at the tail end of the field and just drove his way there through long run pace alone. I mean, we've just gotten to see what a multi-time champion of the iRacing Pro Series is capable of here.
We certainly have, as he will burn it down on the front straightaway in celebration for his win here tonight at Richmond, and multi-time eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion. It's time to burn it down here tonight.
What an incredible race from start to finish. I mean, we had that little stint in the middle where it turned into a crapshoot, but these guys really just reined it in and put together one strong drive to the end. That was a blast to watch. As we look at the ghost smoke from the 38 machine, let's take a quick look here at our unofficial results. And coming across the line here, Michael Conti in first place, followed by Justin Levine in second. Bringing home third is going to be Reese Schaefer, followed by Sean Conklin, Adam Benefield, Patrick Gitter, Daniel Wiles, Keegan Sabilo, Luke Christian, and Chris Vincent running at your top 10.
In P11 is Alex Coffey, followed by Brandon Pascalak with 12. Paul Gallimore in 13th. Dylan Vanks recovers nicely after his spin to 14th. Chris Hudson 15th. Paul Bergoli 16th. Tim Wortman Jr. in 17th. Alexander Carr, Jeffrey Taylor, and Chris Crosby round out your top 20.
And bringing home 21st is going to be Randy Belk, followed by Jose Medina in 22nd. 23rd going to Randy Mullins with Joseph Causey bringing home 24th. 25th place going to Chad Kibbe, followed by Chris Davis, Russell Black, John Bender, Thomas O'Hara, and Greg Carr rounding out your top 30. Okay, with the field set and done here, it's time for it tends to be the most entertaining point of the evening here as we get our third place finisher, Reese Schaefer, up here in the booth. Reese Sheldon up here in the Grid Vision booth. I do believe this is your first time picking up the wheel since the surgery, right? Or your first week.
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, definitely. Definitely getting back into all the league races after surgery. So yeah.
Well, how's it feel to bring home a third place in a pretty much green? Well, we'd say green flag to flag, but we had a halfway break for sure. Long run fest here for the OB Builders Cup Series.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, I really appreciated that halfway break. It was really nice. I could get some water and actually relax for a couple laps under caution. But yeah, super good race. We started 10th. Just kind of getting the feet under me. It was, as everybody was struggling on the higher temps, and then about, I don't know, around that first run, maybe around lap 70 ish, I was really starting to pick up steam, and I really felt the car was really good in the long runs. I just short run pace was just not there, so I was really happy with that super long run. We were able to get by some pretty big names, and then yeah, kind of actually lucked out with that caution there around 180 or so. I was gonna pit on 180, but I decided to stay a little longer, and sure enough, the yellow flew out, and we were in the lead. So then Justin took 2, and on accident, turned out to be a blessing in disguise for him, and I knew Conti was stayed out, but even with his 12 lap pressure or older tires, that car was just so fast in the long run. There was just nothing you could do. So I just needed that last run to go all the 60 laps, to try to get a shot at Sean, and sure enough, it went all 60. And so I was able to, for some reason, I was really good at saving rear tires here, and yeah, the last corner, I just gassed it and hope for the best, and it stuck. So walk away P3, and came more happy about that. It was a great race.
So how does it feel to first race back and you come out here and I mean, just for the metric alone, come out here and beat the points leader of the series?
Yeah, it's Sean's really fast. I mean, if it went fight to flag, I probably wouldn't have got him. And I knew Conti was really quick, and also Battlefield was super fast. His long run pace was excellent, and I was he honestly that second run round, I think I had 10 lap older tires than him, and I passed him, and he let me by, and he stayed right with me. So I let him pass right back. I was like, this guy is quick as they get. So I was happy to stay behind him. He was super chill and cool. And so yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we needed a little luck to get where we did, but we'll take it. It's 2 nights in a row. I got lucky. I got pretty lucky last night in NIS. So yeah, it's definitely just really happy with the result. I was really happy with the pace, and just like I said, if I could figure out the short run a little bit better, I think we've been excellent. But P3 is, I'll take it all day.
After the big P3 and the return, who all do you want to thank and shout out for this?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the family, like my dad, grandpa, my girlfriend Emily. They always love tuning. I'd like to thank all the guys, Justin, Causey, Keegan. They were all racing tonight. Just love hanging out with all the guys, and they are so good to me, and I love racing them, and they help me get better every day, and I appreciate them so much. And I'd like to thank you, Sheldon. You and Taylor had done a great job, and on the broadcast tonight. I can't wait to go back and watch it, and hopefully, we'll be talking to you next week. If not, hopefully it's another time this season. So
We'll be looking forward to seeing you up here in the booth again, man. Good stuff tonight, and thanks for coming and chat with us.
thanks, Sheldon. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
We'll head on over to Taylor Burris with our second place finisher this evening.
Well, he might have got
himself,
second.
Justin Levine.
Absolutely. Well, he might have got second place here tonight in the OB Builders Cup Series, but he did take home the checkered flag in the NIS race that happened to him earlier today. Justin, what is it with you and Richmond Raceway?
It just clicks. I don't know. I can't explain it. I just really like this type of racing at this track with banking a little higher. Always been able to find speed where no one else is running, and it just keeps rolling over. It worked at Iowa until I messed up, and took it here, and it works even better here.
Well, we head to from the shortest track to one of the biggest tracks with Daytona. We know for a fact you are always one of the main contenders when it comes to super speedway racing. What can we expect to see you there?
Checkers of records. I'm gunning to lead every single lap and throw every goddamn block. You are going to have to beat me.
Well, we look forward to seeing that next week there. That is Justin Levine coming home in second place here in the Grid Vision's Mac Tool Toyota. And of course, we talked to the series champion of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series and winner tonight in the OB Builders Cup Series, Michael Conti. He is with Sheldon Atkins.
And sitting here with the man, the myth, legend himself, Michael Conti, after scorching everybody here. Man, first off, tell me, what's the secret for that long run pace? Because I definitely don't have that this week.
Well, man, I wish I could say that there's some special sauce or some trick or exploit or something that you can just magically turn on and make it happen, but that's just a good old TCSP setup maximizing it, and doing some good work out there. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed coming from the back. I love passing cars. And you can't really do that in officials anymore, as you probably know, because we never make it more than 10 laps at these tracks. So to go 180 something laps to start, I mean, just unbelievable. So much fun. Had a great time with everybody. Everybody in here, for the most part, races super respectful, and that's why you have the racing that you do in this series. So I had a blast. Really proud of everything. Proud of TCSP. Proud of my performance. I don't do long races like this anymore, so I'm happy to have not fallen out of the seat. And yeah, man, just looking forward to whatever the next one is.
How does it feel to, because I don't know how much you race these days, but I do know that I don't see you much in official anywhere I'm kicking around anyway. How does it feel to get out here, after potentially a while not being behind the wheel for one of these long races, and come out here and everything that you were doing, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many years ago, still works exactly how I did back then?
Well, yeah, it's good to know that the fundamentals are still there. And I think for the most part, like I said, in the officials that you do these days, whether it's A Open or NIS, you go to one of these shorter tracks and you don't really get long runs. So for the guys that are newer to the service, which is pretty much everybody in here compared to me, because I'm old as dirt in sim racing terms, they don't get to do this a lot unless they're running in leagues like this or FLCC. So as you said, some of the stuff that we were doing years ago, and we had these long runs routinely, and big tire fall off, and cars that changed a lot throughout the run, and tracks that changed too, like this one did tonight. It's good to pull from that memory bank and put it to good use on track. So good to know that I can still hold my own. These A Opens that I've done the last season have not really gone very well, not because the cars didn't have performance, but because you just can't get any laps in. So I was super happy to prove the pace of this car tonight. We have a lot of good competition out there on the performance provider side, and it's just good to show everybody that TCSP is powerful, it's capable, and it can be potent if you put the time in. So for all of our customers and others that were in this race and watching, go out there and get yourself some wins this week. We got a hell of a car, and we'll be cheering you on.
Absolutely. Well, after a good old fashioned ass whooping, who all do you want to thank and shout out for this performance tonight?
Yeah, just thank you to Team Conti, Team Conti Sim Performance, all the people surrounding me there that make that thing run. My ambassador team that twists my arm and tells me to run races, even though I'm like, no, I don't want to run, but I do. For them, the customers that come to us and continue to push us to be better. Just really, TCSP, after my Coke stuff was done, has really kept my interest high in the sim, and it's kept me around the community, and it's allowed me to interact and meet people that I would have never met otherwise. And truly, that's why I'm here tonight, because of the connection with Randy Mullins and those guys on the TCSP customer side. So thank you to everybody over there. Looking forward to celebrating this one a bit. This is a big win for me, first one in a while, and the longest one that I've had in a while. So we'll have a good time tonight. And yeah, thank you guys for putting this on. Awesome broadcast as always. And yeah, whenever the next one is for me, I'll see if I can do it again.
Well, Michael, looking forward to seeing you out there on track again at some point before the season's over. Thanks for coming up here and talking to us, and try not to burn it down too much out there for us.
Hey, you got it, man. I got work tomorrow, so we won't do it too much. But thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You as well. And now we're getting ready to wind down for the evening. Oh, Taylor, you got any final thoughts or burst bullets for us?
Well, for the burst bullets tonight, I have to say it was a lot of great green flag racing here tonight. A couple of things that were surprising with just how the handling progressed for some of these drivers here tonight, like we saw with both Conti and Justin Levine, and a couple of drivers that we were not expecting to struggle, had some issues that they had to try to figure out and overcome, but heading off to Daytona, it's going to be just as unpredictable.
Yeah, the unpredictability next week is definitely going to be something to behold. I know I'm definitely looking forward to it. Is it too early for predictions on that one, Taylor?
Yes, very much too early.
I'm leaning. I already know I'm not allowed to pick them next week, but I got a good feeling it might be that Justin fellow we were talking to earlier.
Oh, he'll make it entertaining for sure next week.
That's definitely gonna be the car to watch. But Man, we've already gotten to that point already, haven't we, guys?
We certainly have.
Well, that will tease us no longer here. From the entire Grid Vision team, we'd like to thank you for watching and participating in the chat. For more information on getting your league broadcasted or starting your career in broadcasting, contact us on Facebook, X, or email us at info@gridvision.live. Special thanks to Andrew Cardinal of Whiplash Sim Cams, providing the cams used on today's broadcast. As well, congratulations to Michael Conti on the big win tonight from Richmond. This has been Sheldon Atkins, joining in the booth by Taylor Burris. As well, got to give a shout out to Tommy Gossett, did an incredible job up in here this evening, and our always perfect producer who never makes any mistakes, Austin Derbyshire. And we will see you next time on the grid.